everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I'm here to talk to you about the priority writing projects for 2025. So these are the projects I'm going to prioritize in the new year, funnily enough. There are 15 writing projects on this list, which is a lot more than I expected to have on this list when I thought of this video idea, but I went through all of my projects that I've worked on in the past couple of years, and I was like, dang, there's really a lot of them that I want to work on. So I've split it up into 3 categories of 5 each. So there's high priority, which are the ones that I'm definitely going to be working on. I'll probably be working on at least one, maybe more of these each month. Then we have the medium priority, which are the ones that I'm almost definitely going to be working on at some point throughout the year. Maybe not every single month featuring one of these projects, but most of them. And then we have the low priority, which are the ones that I might not get to, but if I have time, I really would like to, and at the very least, I will be thinking about them quite often. So, since there are 15 to talk about, why don't we just get into that? So first up, we are going to talk about the high priority list, and number 1 on this list is the sapphic supernatural western novel that I've been working on since early summer. This is also known as TDGHD. That's the acronym for the title. I'm not going to tell you guys the title yet because I want to do a nice reveal of it when the time comes to publish this book. So you can look forward to that at some point in the future. But this is a book that, like I said, I've been working on since the early summer, and I have written it, sent it out to friends, written it, and now it is out with another friend again. And I might get through another round of edits before the end of 2024, but I'm not positive on that. It really depends on a lot of other factors. If I can, I would like to get to it, but I'm not totally sure about it. So at the very least, I'll be working on it quite a lot in 2025. Next on the high priority list is City of Blood, also known as TSOBAB. And again, you don't get to know what that acronym stands for just yet, but this is a story that I started writing in February, and I was inspired by Bloodborne, specifically Jacob and Julia of the YouTube channel / Twitch channel Secret Sleeper Society were playing Bloodborne, and the first, arc of the game that takes place in Yharnam? Is that what it's called? It's been a while since I actually, thought about the game itself, but that in particular is what inspired me to write this, and this is a, monster-filled horror romance, and I have written it. I did handwriting for the first draft, and then I did light edits on it when I, typed it up on my computer. And I would like to do another round of edits before the end of the year and then send it off to beta readers again. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to this. I just haven't gotten to it yet. It is on my vedid schedule to post a vlog of me editing this book. So I'm really hoping that I get around to it. But again, a lot of things are in motion right now, so we really have to just wait and see what actually happens, but this is definitely the second highest priority on this list after the Sapphic Supernatural Western. Next up, we have Roll for Romance, which is a contemporary college-set romance series. There are going to be 5 books in this series, and I'm currently drafting book 1. It's going to be a lot longer than I initially thought it was going to be, so I'm just going to see how much work I can get done in this whole series throughout the year, editing this first book once I get this draft finished, drafting the other books in the series, all that sort of fun stuff. So this is a very silly and self-indulgent series because contemporary romance is not a genre I ever thought I would write, but here I am writing it and really enjoying it. And the last 2 books on the high priority list are ones I'm going to talk about together because they are both cosmic horror novellas. At least they're starting off as novellas. Who knows where they'll go as edits go on. But first we have Always Drowning, Never Dying. This is an aquatic cosmic horror, and I do have a first draft of this. It is very, very, very rough. So I definitely need to go back and clean it up quite a bit before I send it off to readers. And then Salvation, I haven't actually done a ton of work on, which is surprising that it ended up on the high priority list, even surprising to me, because I literally don't even have a whole outline for this yet. But it is something that I want to work on in conjunction to Always Drowning, Never Dying, because they're definitely stories on the same wavelength, even if they aren't super similar in like plot and character, you know? So those are the 5 high priority projects that I want to work on in 2025. Next up, under the medium priority title, is Frostbite. This is an adult fantasy romance with vampires, and I have this on the medium priority list just because I am really excited to work on it. I don't have an outline or anything done for it yet, but I keep thinking about these characters and this world and the plot. I do have like all of the beats figured out. I just don't have like a scene outline. And this is a story that lives rent free in my head, and that's why it's a medium priority, because I really, really, really want to work on it, and I'm hoping to get some serious work done on it during the winter season because it is a wintry fantasy, and I just think that would be a real fun time. Then we have my witchy trilogy, which is a trilogy following witches. Who would have thought? But basically, this is a series where each book follows a different sister, but they all take place during the same 6-week period. You're just following a different character in them, so they definitely have a lot of overlap. And it is set in the spring. It is adult romance, but it's like urban fantasy, not high fantasy. So very fun stuff. I've had a great time working on all the character work and trying to figure out where the different stories kind of like are braided together and where they're separate. I do have the first book plotted out and the second and third books kind of loosely plotted out, but not as detailed as the first one. I do have to go in and actually do like real outlines of them though. Up next, we have a project that I affectionately call Gay Vampires, and the acronym for this is BOTC. You don't get to know what that means either. Don't worry, it's not the last acronym I'm gonna throw at you during this video, but this is a story that I wrote after watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, which if you've seen it, you understand why this project is called Gay Vampires. This was my attempt at taking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 and basically saying, what if it was actually gay and also set in America instead of England? So it is set during the American Industrial Revolution. It's set in New Jersey, which is where I'm from, so that's why I chose to set it there. And I actually have gotten through several drafts on this. It's on either draft like 2 or 3, but I haven't sent it out to friends. Well, that's a lie. I sent it to one friend, but not in like a beta reader capacity, just because they wanted to see it. I don't even know if they ever actually read it, but this is one that's gone through a lot more work than anything else on the medium priority list, and even more work than some of the things on the high priority list. So maybe it should have been a higher priority, but it's on this list instead. Then we have Winter's Prisoner, which is a trilogy. I do love me some trilogies. It is a high fantasy. I'm not sure about the romance aspect yet, but it has to do with the fair folk, specifically the Winter Court, hence why it's Winter's Prisoner. And this is one that I did a lot of character work and world building for, and I have the first book outlined. I did not outline the other books yet. I didn't draft the first book, so it's still kind of like a fledgling story, but it has had some serious time and effort put into it. And then we have Space Dragons, which is something I'm a little bit sad didn't get put higher on the priority list, but like realistically looking at all of these projects, the other things are a higher priority. So this is a story that I started writing earlier this year, and I got about 25,000 words into it. I wrote all of Act 1, and then I hit a major writing block with it, so I put it aside with every intention to come back to it, and I just haven't. The comp titles I have for this are Prior of the Orange Tree meets Fourth Wing, but it's set in space. So, a very exciting idea, if I do say so myself. It's a project I'm very excited to work on. I just really don't know how to make that transition from Act 1 to Act 2. And I do have like a full outline of the story, and it works in the outline, it just didn't work in the actual writing of it. So it's going to take a lot of like untangling things and figuring out how to fix that, which is why I've been putting it off for all of these months, because I think I wrote the first 25,000 words in like April or something. Like it was really early this year, but I do really want to get back to it because I kind of miss these characters and this story. And then we come to the low priority, which, as I said, are projects that I would like to work on, but I probably won't, but I'll still be doing a lot of thinking about them. So first up on this list, we have Lesbian Biker Inferno, which is a project I've talked about here and there on this channel. I've been working on it for a couple of years, but this is essentially a retelling of Dante's Inferno, except the Dante character is a lesbian biker, like a butch lesbian, and then the Virgil character is her sentient motorcycle. So very campy, very queer. It's a story that's very near and dear to my heart, and I will write this one day. I just don't know when that day is. Next up, we have a project that doesn't really have a project title. The project title is just the two comp titles, and so I've been calling it Caraval meets Spirited Away. And so you can kind of infer what the vibes are from that. It's got like spirits and the spirit world, but also a carnival. And I've got a Pinterest board for this one that I'm very proud of. I think it does the vibes justice. And I do kind of know what the plot is going to be. I just haven't actually plotted it out yet. Up next is If We Shadows. This is my Dark Academia retelling of A Midsummer Night's Dream, where the fairies are now ghosts. And also, it's going to be very queer. So, I love A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's my favorite Shakespeare play, and I love Dark Academia. As I'm sure you all know, I write Dark Academia. I write other genres too, clearly. Look at all this list of many genres, but Dark Academia does have a very special place in my heart, and this is a project that I really, really, really want to write. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And now we come to our penultimate project on the priority list, as if I needed another P word, but this is the last acronym I will throw at you. It is ATKD. You don't get to know what that stands for either, but this is the project I've also been referring to as Dragons No Dragons. I don't know how many of you were around a couple years ago, but in 2022, I worked on this project for 8 months straight, without breaks, without stopping to work on other projects. I worked on a couple of projects alongside this one, but this was my main focus for most of the year, and it really, really burnt me out. But this is a high fantasy book, kind of in the vein of King Arthur. There's no dragons, but there are the remnants of dragons that were hunted into extinction. So that's why it's Dragons No Dragons. And I love this book. I love these characters, but it was such a huge scope. It was way beyond anything I was probably ready to write at that time. It has 4 different POV characters, 4 or 5, and a huge world, a lot of politics, and I love it so much, and I really want to get back to it one day. I just am so scared to get back to it at the same time. And finally, the last item on this priority list is Project Labyrinth. This is a story that I also was working on several years ago, and you probably heard me talk about if you were around at that point, but it's been through a lot of changes, we'll say that. I think I did a first draft of it, and then I re-outlined it like 5 times to try and fix it, because there's just something that's not working about it, and I really don't know what it is, and I want to fix it so bad. I just really can't figure out what the issue is, and it's going to take a lot of work, which is why it is a priority. It's just the lowest priority of the priority list. So, it will get worked on eventually, just like most of the projects on this list. And now, after what feels like ages, I've made it to the end of my priority list. Let me know down in the comments which projects of these sound the most interesting to you, because I am a pushover. And if you tell me to work on something, there's a high chance that I will be more motivated to work on it, so definitely let me know. But if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone!